Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining Business SMS 101. My name is Scott Crowley. I'm a senior biz dev from Amazon Pinpoint, and I'm joined by Pavlos Ioannou Katidis, who's a senior specialist solutions architect. In today's webinar, we're going to introduce you to Business SMS, and we're going to focus on how you can easily start using SMS, since it is one of the most effective means to reach your clients. We'll start with a basic introduction to SMS, go into why SMS is the go-to channel, and then jump into getting started. This revolves around choosing the right number type. And here we'll also have a simple yet very powerful demo, which will be going into the Amazon Pinpoint console. We'll talk a bit about the limitations, so where things can go wrong, and then how to remediate these potential issues. At the end, we hope you have a better understanding of how SMS can be a key channel in your business workflows. Hope you're able to then set up and send your first SMS campaigns and have a bit of a better understanding of what the limitations there are. So let's get started. SMS stands for short message service or text messaging. This is the core function on every mobile device, and it was designed for person-to-person communication. Nearly everyone is familiar with this and has texted messages between contacts. Why is this even important? So most enterprises expect business SMS to work as seamlessly as well sending an SMS to mom or dad. Unfortunately, this is typically not the case, even though it uses a lot of the same telco infrastructure on the back end. Our aim for today will be to show how AWS is trying to make it as simple as texting your parents. When we talk about business SMS, it's also known as application to person SMS or A2P. This is what enables enterprises to reach their clients via SMS. Typically, it's broken down into two main categories. The first one being transactional messaging. This is your one-time passcodes or delivery notifications, perhaps appointment reminders or payment confirmations. Secondly, there's promotional messaging. This could be discount codes or abandoned shopping cart notifications, any sort of marketing use cases that are sent via SMS. The difference in transactional and promotional is important, as you'll also see in our demo, as this can influence how you register and also the type of route that is used for sending the SMS. To further break it down, each messaging can be broken down into one-way or two-way, meaning is it just a one-way alert that's sent out, or does it require a response from the potential user? So replying yes to confirm your appointment for tomorrow. So why is SMS still so often the go-to channel? Even though it's been around since the 90s, it's still running strong and the channel of choice for most of our customers. We'll look into a few characteristics of what make it so popular. The first one comes with accessibility. So every mobile device is capable of receiving SMS. Doesn't require Wi-Fi, data, doesn't even need to be a smartphone. And there actually are more mobile devices than people on the planet. It's a very effective means to communicate with customers. Various studies show that the open rate for SMS is anywhere between 90 and 98%. This also leads to a high level of engagement. So in cases where you do need a reply from users, up to 59% reply within 1 to 2 minutes. And it's very versatile, as we mentioned, for one-way use cases, two-way appointment reminders, booking notifications, alerts. There's a variety of ways you can use SMS to reach your user base. Amazon Pinpoint is a multi-channel engagement platform, which allows enterprises to send email, push, voice, and SMS at scale. When we look into SMS, how does Amazon Pinpoint support SMS workflows? It starts with being flexible. We have a variety of APIs at disposal and also our online console option. It is a global service and it's available in 12 AWS regions. It's highly scalable. We currently process more than 1 billion SMS per month. And with one Amazon Pinpoint account, you have access to reach over 240 countries and territories. So let's look at how we get started. We discussed earlier that most users expect to be able to just start sending SMS immediately, and it should just work. With business SMS, there is the requirement to obtain what's called an origination identity, or the from address that the SMS is sent from. And each one has different approvals and different registrations requirements depending on the country that you're based in. So here at AWS, we're trying to automate as much as possible and streamline these workflows, but we are bound in some cases to global telco regulatory. And also, in the example, before you could text mom or dad, you also had to get a number to be able to do so. So we can block these into 3 categories. First, we have shortcode. This is essentially the standard kind of globally. It's user-friendly. It's 5 to 6 digits typically, and can be supporting user-initiated messaging, so texting in to a number. We have long codes. These are typically the standard length of a mobile number. They come with the benefit of quick provisioning, also through the Pinpoint console. And we have sender ID. This is an alphanumeric text that is shown as sender and gives you an optimal branding option. Go into a bit more details on each of these, starting with the shortcode. So if you consider the US and also the globe as a whole, majority of countries, the shortcodes are considered the gold standard for business SMS. They do offer the highest throughput. They support both one-way and two-way use cases. And typically, clients will see the highest delivery rates through shortcodes. On the downside, there is a bit longer setup process. There's more documentation and registration requirements. They can be a bit more expensive on the fees involved in the setup. And they also are country specific. So if you're going in multiple countries, you have to set up shortcodes in each of those countries, and they will most likely be different numbers. However, for a long-term, highly scalable, and high level of delivery, shortcodes are the way to go, despite some of these hurdles with setup. The next option that we have are long codes. And to keep things interesting, these are even further broken down into 3 categories. 2 of them are a subset that are specific to the US. The first one is a generic long code, or a standard mobile number length. These have the benefit of being essentially instantly provisioned, also through the Pinpoint console. This does come with the caveat that there are varying degrees of reliability. So these mobile numbers were designed for the person-to-person texting, so texting your parents, for example, and weren't designed for receiving, flight notifications. This means that carriers do target these numbers for and actively filter them or block them. So use them with caution. If you're ramping up high, you need to be aware there could be issues with deliverability long term. The 10-digit long code, or the 10DLC as it's called, was designed specifically with this in mind in the US to tackle this non or unregistered long code setup. So this did create a path for higher reliability, higher throughput. It does come with the downside that they're not instantly provisioned anymore. It does require a registration and setup. They are relatively quick though, so they are quicker than a short code, for example. And these can be procured through the Pinpoint console. Similar to that are toll-free numbers. This is a US-specific toll-free long code. These used to have an unregistered instant setup that has changed since the end of 2022. So they do come with higher reliability now, but it does take a little bit longer to set up. However, again, these can also be set up and procured through the Pinpoint console. And finally, we'll talk a bit about sender ID. This is an alphanumeric string It's up to 11 characters. Can be, for example, the name Amazon or your company name, which is used for sending out SMS. So these are great for branding and consistency across many countries where they are supported. There's currently no additional fees for using a sender ID, and they do have capabilities to have a high level of throughput. The downsides are that they are only for one-way traffic. It's not technically possible to respond to a sender ID. This is a limitation in the SMS protocol. The restrictions are changing relatively quick. So countries are making these more restricted and setting up new processes in place to allow for registrations. And Amazon Pinpoint is supporting these registration processes wherever we possibly can, and working to automate them to make them as streamlined as possible for you as a customer. So we've seen a bit about what SMS can do, which origination identity or number type would fit the various use cases. Let's take a look now at how easily you can get started. In the following demo, we're going to jump into the Pinpoint console. We're going to create a project, import some user data, which are mobile numbers, choose an origination identity, and we'll send out the campaign. I'm going to hand over now to Pavlos to guide us through this journey.
Thank you very much, Scott. And I'm sharing my screen, and what you can see here, there are a couple windows. On the left, it is the AWS Console, and specifically, we're looking at Amazon Pinpoint. On the right, I have first the Window Explorer, where you can see an CSV file in which we're going to go a little bit more in detail on what it contains and what is the structure of the data that Pinpoint requires. And behind that, we have my mobile phone, which we are mirroring, so we can see the SMS coming through. So let's start by first explaining what is an Amazon Pinpoint project. And this is what you will need to create in order to get started. An Amazon Pinpoint project is essentially a container for your customer data, customer engagement data, and that refers to events that they are generated when your customers interact with the messages that you're sending to. And it also is a container for experiences, and by experiences referring to Amazon Pinpoint campaigns and journeys. Campaigns is a single-step customer engagement in which you select the customer segment, a group of customers which share the same attribute value. You select a message template, essentially what you will be sending to them, like the message. And later on, you select when. It could be scheduled, it could be immediate. On the other hand, journeys is a multi-step customer engagement in which you can have more than one channels. So Pinpoint is a multi-channel customer engagement platform. SMS is one of the channels, but they have other channels such as email, push notification. And in journeys, you can actually utilize these channels as well. So let's go ahead, and before we proceed into creating a campaign and engaging with our customers via SMS, let's get this customer data imported. So I have already opened the CSV, and here what we can see is we have three what we call endpoints. And all these endpoints are of the channel type SMS. As I mentioned, Pinpoint supports other channels, so here we specify that these endpoints are under the channel SMS. An endpoint essentially is defined by its channel and address, and it belongs to a user. So Pavlos, myself, I can have multiple endpoints, and each endpoint could be a different channel which you can use to reach out to me. Here we have the channel, which is SMS, the address, which is specifically following the format of E164. Specifically, it is plus followed by the country code and the mobile number. And then we have added some other columns such as the user ID, so in which user it belongs, and then some attributes which you can think of as characteristics of that specific user. In this case, it is the first name. You can also add things such as metrics, which are numerical values, and here we have the age. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and import that as a segment in Pinpoint. To do this, we navigate to Segments. We're clicking on Import a Segment. You can import either via your computer, which we're going to do, or from an Amazon S3 bucket. We just simply drag and drop the CSV file we've seen a moment ago. The name is being picked out automatically from the CSV name, but you can change it. And we click Create. That should take a couple of seconds, and we should see a success message, as we can see here. And that is our segment. Pinpoint also supports dynamic segments, which I'm not going to go into, but please feel free to explore outside of that demo. The next step is to actually create a message template. So here in this section, Pinpoint allows you to create message templates that can be reused across campaigns and journeys. I have already created one. It's called Welcome SMS. We can edit it so you can simply see how it looks. We have the name of the template, the version, so you can have multiple versions, only one active at a time. And here it is the message itself. You might notice that it has these double handlebars, and this is where you can specify dynamic values, such as the one we imported a moment ago with our CSV, first name. You can do so and find which values are available in your project by going to the attribute finder and then loading the ones here, which become available on your right, and you can just copy them and paste them into the message itself. I'm going to update the version, even if we haven't done any changes, and then head back to my project, go to set campaigns, and go ahead and start creating a campaign. We're going to call it first SMS campaign. I'm not going to go into details of what are the possibilities in a campaign, but we're going to cover the basics in order to send an SMS campaign. So we select SMS as a channel. From the segments, we select the one we just imported. And this tells us that we have 3 endpoints that will be contacted. Then we're choosing the template, the one that we have created, or you can create a new SMS on the fly. So if you don't want to use a template, then you can just type it and send it. Let's select the template itself that we created a moment ago, Welcome SMS, choose it. Scroll further down, you can see the preview. And then, as Scott mentioned, you can choose either that will be treated as a transactional or a promotional SMS. You can also select the origination phone number. So will it be a long code from the ones that you procured already? Of course, we're sending in the UK, so a toll-free number would not really deliver the SMS. Or would it be a sender ID? So let's do a sender ID, which is alphanumeric, and we're going to type AWS. We proceed. We're going to select to send this immediately, but it could be at some point in the future. Next again, and here we have a summary page of all the settings and preferences, and then we can go ahead and launch that campaign. As you can see, I have received an SMS, and opening it, we can see that first of all, it's coming from AWS. So Pinpoint used the sender ID that we just typed as AWS. And then the message itself, where the handlebars were for first name, has been replaced with the name Pavlos that we imported by our CSV. In terms of events, we can view them under the campaign metrics. And here we can see that We have sent 3 to 3 endpoints, and 3 messages were sent, and 2 of them were delivered at a 66.7 delivery rate. You can also see the total SMS spent in USD dollars. So that's it. You can obviously visit our documentation and read more, but now I'll pass it back to Scott. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pavlos, for that great demo. Let's now talk a bit about the limitations of using SMS as a channel. Because although it is key for business communication, it's not always a guarantee that the SMS will be delivered on time or at all. So we saw in the demo, not all SMS were delivered, which is normal, but it's key to know some actions you can take to ensure the highest delivery rates. And finally, then, we'll offer some guidance on how to overcome some of these limitations. Let's look a bit deeper into what actually happens when a business SMS is sent out and attempted to be delivered. There's multiple communication points. These occur between, for example, the enterprise and Amazon Pinpoint. And then the key component is between Pinpoint and the telco carriers. There's a lot of hurdles that need to be jumped to get through to the actual handset, be it various firewalls, opt-out lists, is the number valid, various throughput limits, and also these registrations we talked about. So once these are achieved, the SMS is then sent to the end user. In some cases, they are delivered. In some cases, they're not delivered. Details about this is then sent back in the form of a delivery receipt, or a DLR, as they're also known. And Amazon Pinpoint then passes these back on to you as a customer. So what's key is that you're able to look into these delivery receipts and receive more information about what might have happened in the delivery chain. Was this subscriber, this number, invalid? Was it in the wrong format? Or was it potentially the number was unreachable? So the user was in an airplane, for example. This data can be key to then decide if you need to use an alternative channel to attempt to send that message to that user. So there are a lot of complexities in the message delivery flow and a lot of things that can go wrong, so to say, be it spam filters or wrong registrations or unregistered numbers in use. Some other high-level details that are just common misconceptions of SMS or limitations, things like delivery receipts. These are not read receipts. It's only going to tell you if the message was delivered to the handset. It's a part of the technology that's used in SMS that read receipts are not available. It is a text-only service, so there is no possible options for images or attachments to an SMS. The telcos and regulators are setting the rules. They're ultimately looking out in the best interest for subscribers, as spamming and unsolicited messages are a problem. If there's any potential risk that the telcos see for their subscribers, first thing that they will do is block those messages and then try to remediate the problem from the end recipient or from the end customer using the numbers. Data integrity, this is something that is key for ensuring higher delivery rates, ensuring that the number format is correct, so validating numbers before the SMS are sent out. This can help ensure the highest level of deliverability. And throughput and number type is extremely important. As we shared before, ensuring the proper number is used for the use case at hand, this will help to ensure the highest level of success. We have a lot of resources available to help you send SMS at scale, including guidance on choosing the right number type, how you can validate your numbers prior to sending. And also, as Amazon Pinpoint is a multi-channel engagement platform, SMS is just one key component of our sending options. Not all SMS will be delivered due to the various touch points in the process and in the telco networks, but there is a multi-channel approach, which is key to ensure the highest level of deliverability to your users. And we have a lot of great information on how you can use all the channels available in Amazon Pinpoint. That concludes our webinar today. We hope you learned a bit more about business SMS. Hope you understood how you can choose the best number for your use case, and you experienced how you can simply get started with during our live demo. In addition, there are challenges with sending SMS at scale, and the ever-changing telco regulatory landscape is a challenge. But I hope you are able to use some of this information to get started straight away. Thank you so much for joining.